Blessings and peace to you. This is SB Favorite Thinking Podcast, and my name is SB Favor. How are you doing today? It is Friday, October 8th, 2021. Another wonderful day and another day to be thankful. And as I always say, if you focus on what is good, then you can project something good to happen. So make sure you focus on what is good. I have two co-hosts here today, Angela Cephas and Rebecca Barreto. We're going to talk about the peace of God, the strength of God, and how to walk through it with his peace and with his strength in trying times. We've all have gone through different things in the last year and a half during the pandemic and in our personal lives. So we're going to talk about the peace of God and the strength of God. But before we get into that, I would like to remind you, if you would like to give to the podcast, please give at Cash App at SB Favor, and I appreciate that. Your donations are greatly, greatly, greatly appreciated. Anyway, moving on. Angie, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good.
All right.
Blessed and highly favored,
Blessed and highly favored. And Rebecca, how are you? Rebecca?
Hi, how are you? Hello, Angela. I was touching the wrong mute area there. I am doing well. All is well. Great.
Well, as you all know, over the last month, it's been really, really crazy. I had to take a break from recording episodes of the podcast because of personal reasons. My mother passed away, and at the same time, a week apart, my daughter got married. And it was absolutely crazy. And I must say that I learned something new about God. And so that's why I wanted to talk about this topic tonight, the strength of God, the peace of God. And how do you walk in the peace of God, the strength of God? Rebecca, tell me about a time in your life where you knew you had to walk in the strength of God and the peace of God, as you have to every day. Tell me about that.
Yeah. Obviously, when Stephen passed away, right? In 2020, that's my middle son. He was 26 years old. And it was a time when so many good things were happening in my life. And I had a set goals. As a matter of fact, it's when I believe I started on your podcast, and so excited for that. And then I got hit right with this news.
Wow.
And that he passed away.
Wow.
And that talk about a crisis, huh?
Wow. So it happened. It happened. We started the podcast in 2020. And he passed away like 2-3 months later, right?
Yes.
Wow. So the peace of God, the strength of God. Tell me about how you walk in the peace and the strength of God daily from that experience.
Daily. Mm-hmm. I believe in the peace of God, first and foremost, knowing that he's an all-powerful God, right?
Yes.
He's an omnipotent God, and that means that he's a strong God with power.
Mm-hmm.
And his power is so great and so large that I had to trust in his power, and I had to learn what it meant when it said that God gives you peace that surpasses all understanding, right?
Right.
It's an unexplainable peace when you fall apart, when someone's taken from you,
mm-hmm.
And you feel like you can't live anymore, or you feel like, why is this happening? And you see so many others suffer.
Right.
Right. I had to learn how to first and foremost trust in the power of God, in the resurrection of death. Right. I know that he's in transition to be with the Lord. I had to first trust God for that.
Right.
To give me peace, right? Because it's such a painful moment when you think you're never going to see your loved one again. Okay. I was in that mental state for a minute, but I had to quickly turn around from that thought process, because I am going to see him again.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
I had to trust in God's peace within me to stabilize my mind, my emotions, because I had to continue living.
Yeah, you said the thoughts. Your thoughts play a very vital part in processing anything you go through. Your thoughts play a part in processing things in a healthy way. If you're sitting around thinking all the wrong thoughts and going backwards, then that means you're not processing your crises or your situation in a healthy way. When something happens in your life, you have to maintain the right thoughts going forward. None of us can go backwards. We have to go forward by processing the right thoughts. So it's an exercise that you practice daily, maintaining the right thoughts, healthy thoughts. I'm glad you said that, Rebecca. Angie, tell me about how you walk in the peace of God, the strength of God daily. Tell me about that.
Oh boy, I must say in the very beginning, because my son had passed away this year. It had been about, I guess it was about 6-7 months ago. He passed away, and so in the very beginning, I didn't understand. I didn't understand why, how, because it's like,
Yes.
Things were going so great. We were building our relationship up. Because our relationship was strained for a minute, and we were building that up, and all of a sudden everything was seemed like my life was just sucked, the air was just sucked out of me. And the way he left us it was devastating. And I think, like you said, it's more so like just your thoughts, it took me a while to get where I am now, and it's still a process. I've not gotten, completely over his death, and I don't think I ever will. I think it has gotten me to a point of really appreciating life more than I ever have, and just like really not allowing my thoughts get the best of me. Because the negative thoughts get the best of me. So I pray. I've been doing daily meditations, things that are kind of out of the norm than I used to do before. And I just rely more on his strength. And I believe that, I'm not saying my son's death was, it was more of a wake-up call for me. And so I think more is just relying on God and staying in tune with God all the time, and knowing that, his ways are not my ways. And I just have to just continue to just not try to understand what happened.
Yes.
Just continue to strive to want to do better and be better. And then on top of that, my brother passed away, months later after that. And so I was like a double whammy, and so it's just giving me more of appreciation of life. And I think just piggybacking on what both of you ladies said, it's just not staying in the thoughts, constantly staying in prayer, and just relying on his strength, because no matter what, he's going to get us through.
Absolutely. Listeners, I want you to understand that we're talking about this because we want you to gather knowledge based upon our experience. Because guess what? Seasons change. You never know when something is going to happen. But if you pray, if you meditate, if you read the Word of God, if you read inspirational content, then you are building yourself up. Rebecca said everything was going well when the incident happened to her son. Angela said the same thing happened to her. Well, with me, I was preparing for my daughter's wedding in the month of August. I was looking forward to my daughter getting married in September, and my mom was walking around eating all kind of junk food, laughing with her grandchildren. Everything was fine. Everything was a normal pace of life. And then all of a sudden, the end of August, I get a call stating that my mother was admitted to the hospital. Long story short, my mom, she went into the hospital and she didn't come home. But in that process of everything happening, I prayed and I stayed focused daily because my daughter was going to be married soon in the month of September. Now, this was the end of August. So As I proceeded to carry out my family duties, so to speak, talking to my siblings on the phone and things like that, my mother's health took a turn. Now, this was 1 week before my daughter was to be married. 1 week before. So I had to prepare for the wedding. I get the news that my mom passed away. Now I have to fly to one state, come home, leave to another state, and go to a funeral. So to explain it to you in simple terms, I had to go to the altar twice within 7 days. Once to give my daughter away, and the second to say goodbye to my mom for now. And a lot of people ask, well, how did you do that? The peace of God.
How did you do that?
Yes, the peace of God, the strength of God. People looked at me and they looked at me like, well, I can't believe she's walking in such strength. Well, guess what? When you decide to walk in strength, it is an act of your will. It's not about how you feel. It is an act of your will. Because God has made so many things available to us, but you have to decide to partake of what he has made available for you. So, Angie, tell me about those days where you feel like you don't have the strength. What do you do then? Tell me about that.
Cry. No, I mean.
Yeah. Well, that's real.
Yeah, that's real.
Yeah.
Talk, I cry.
Yeah.
And I cry out to God, for the strength and the guidance, to show me where are you taking me.
Yes.
What is it? You know what I mean? I used to question God. I used to question God because I didn't understand his plan.
Right.
But his plan is not to be understood.
Right.
It's just, you just have to believe. That's
you gotta
it.
Trust. You gotta trust.
And
yes.
Trust. And so, one of the things that has really helped me, and I shared this with you yesterday, actually, I've done these videos. Because a lot of times when I'm going through stuff, I don't really like to share where I'm at or what I'm feeling because everybody has their opinion. You know what I mean? And sometimes I don't want your opinion. I just want to vent. And I've been doing these videos, I guess to myself, and I've decided that maybe I need to really put it out there, to reach people, because maybe what I'm saying will touch someone else and show people how how to deal with it. Because it's all about, when you're going through something, it's all about how you deal with it and how you get over it and how you come through it. You know what I mean? Because, and then you can teach somebody else and show somebody else, well, this is how I did it. You know what I mean? If I'm going through this, and you're going through this, we can work through this together. And that's what I think that our purpose here is on earth, is to share our experiences to help someone else.
Yes.
And so, I've been doing these videos since, I guess, back in 2016. I just talking to the camera in my phone and just start ranting, and a lot of times, a lot of it's not ranting, a lot of it's just more so just being grateful. Because I have to thank God, throughout this whole process. I have to be grateful because it's not all going to be bad, and life isn't bad. It's what you believe it and what you look at it, and it's not bad. Yes, terrible things did happen, within this past year, and I had to be grateful that I was able to have the strength to deal with that, because a lot of people, when especially with death. Some people can't handle it.
The key thing is that we have to maintain the right thoughts every single day. We have to relate to our source, which is God. We have to commune with him. We have to pray. We have to meditate. We have to read spiritual and inspirational content. It's vitally important to maintain a healthy thought life every single day. When you focus on maintaining a healthy thought life, then what happens is everything else in your life begins to change. So talking about the strength of God and the peace of God has everything to do with, first, what you think. Because if you're meditating on something that pertains to strength, if you're meditating on something that pertains to peace, then you're going to have peace. People sometimes they justify having a stinking thought life. We're not supposed to walk around and just allow ourselves to just think anything, any kind of way. The ocean, as big as the ocean is, it has boundaries. So we must have boundaries in our thought life. So maintaining the peace of God and the strength of God when we go through something is all about building ourselves up so that we can help somebody else, like you said, Ange. That's the key part. So, Rebecca, let me ask you, when you feel like you're having a challenging day, I use the word challenging because I don't believe in saying I'm having a bad day. I don't believe in that. I believe in saying the word challenging. So when you have a challenging day, what do you do to jump the hurdle, to keep going? What do you do when it comes to relating to your source, which is God?
I'm glad that you put it that way, challenging day, because I do prefer that word above anything else. I believe it's a choice. It's a process.
Mm-hmm.
See, we are all wired, and I'm kind of learning this as I go by, right?
Yes.
We're kind of wired, and we have different levels of experiences that we have had in our upbringing in our life, right?
Yes.
That teach us, right, how to cope and how to react and whatnot. And not all that is always conducive, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, the hardest part, I believe, in being in a crisis, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's the pandemic, whether it's the global financial world, whether it's a death in our family, like we all three had.
Yes.
And what a coincidence how we're all connected that way.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
We are going to have emotions, and the thoughts create emotions.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
And we have to make a decision on how far we're going to allow those thoughts to continue creating emotions. And a lot of these emotions could be anxiety, they could be fear, they could be frustration, they could be confusion,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think we have to make a conscious choice daily.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Is to say, I am not going to allow these thoughts to kind of keep on rolling and rolling and rolling.
That's right.
To a point
Mm-hmm.
where these emotions begin to develop, right?
Yes.
And then all of a sudden, that challenging day, ends up a defeated day. Right?
Yes, that's right. That's right.
I'm learning that because, I also recently, went through a situation and I was lost. And I was saying, man, God, what's up with this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Lord, what's
Mm-hmm.
going on? When am I going to catch a break, And I remember I was learning. I was learning, and it was as if God was teaching me,
Mm-hmm.
you need to gain strength in me, but I have given you the tool.
Absolutely. The tools.
And the tool is to focus on what is good.
Amen. That's right.
Come on now. Focus on the
Focus
solution
on.
and not the problem.
That's right. That's right.
And you say, well, gee, this is something that SB always says.
That's
well,
right.
She does.
That's right.
And listening to her over a year and a half, I'm finally getting it.
Yes, because you know what? Let me tell you something. When you focus on what is good and when you keep and you maintain the right thoughts, what happens is you are projecting what's in you out of you. Okay? I'm going to say that again. When you keep the right thoughts and when you focus on what is good, you are projecting what's in you out of you. And I know somebody might be out there thinking in a place of doubt saying, well, how you going to change something by just focusing on what's good? Isn't that a fantasy? Well, let me tell you something. When you project what's good, you are forecasting something to happen based upon creating something from your own energy, from your own spirit. Because like I said to you the other day, Rebecca, God made us in his likeness and his image. We all have creative abilities, right? And people might, people say, well, how can you create something with your thought? Because when you think about something long enough, you are giving power to it. If a person is sitting down talking about, oh, I'm sick, I got a headache. If they're focused on that pain, if they're focused on that headache, guess what? It's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. So what you give your energy to, what you give your focus to, that becomes bigger. And so to focus on the peace of God, the strength of God, when you go through something, guess what? It's going to carry you. It's going to help you. And so if you focus on the woe is me, and you focus on, oh, yes, I missed that loved one. Yes, grief is not easy. It's a process. But you can walk through the process with the right thoughts, with the peace of God, with the strength of God. I wouldn't say to you listeners not to grieve. I would never say that, because yes, I'm still grieving my mother. I'm still grieving a niece that passed away in the month of May. But in that process of grieving, if you keep the right thoughts, if you maintain healthy thoughts, then that process becomes easier over time. Because Angie, you said that the process becomes easier, right? You said that? Angela?
Oh, yes. I'm sorry. I'm here. I'm sorry.
All right now.
No, yeah, I mean, it does. It becomes easier. You know, you just have to and I think what has helped me is just staying in the moment.
Amen.
Just staying in the moment.
That's good. I like that. Yes.
Not thinking on the past, because the past is over with. That was yesterday. Staying in the moment. And I think while I'm staying in the moment, I believe that my future will be better.
That's right.
You know what I mean? And so that's really where I'm at. I've been been on this meditation for a minute now, and just my thinking about what I want, and thinking about being in that place. I'll say this real quick. In one time when I was meditating, I was actually with my son, and I think it's I know we are going to meet again.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I know we're going to meet again. And it's all according to when God is ready. He was ready for his wings to fly. I wasn't ready for him to fly, but God felt it was, and so but in one of my meditations, he was in there. He was in there, and I didn't want him to go. I didn't want him to go in the meditation, and it was like I was in the present moment with him. And
that's a pleasant thought.
Yeah, and it was a peaceful moment, but it was sad, but it was peaceful. You know what I mean? I felt at peace.
Yeah,
being with him.
Yeah.
And I know that and that's where I want to be. And I think that's all of us want to be, is just to be at peace. And with all the stuff that we've been through, we just want to be at peace, and just and so now that's just where I'm at. I just want to be at peace, and the meditations really, really help. And just stay in that moment.
Yeah.
Just stay in that moment and want that moment.
Exactly. We all have to focus on the things we want to happen versus the things we don't want to happen. As Rebecca mentioned, your emotions. When you focus on the right things, the things that give you joy, the things that give you peace, you can create that emotion to live in. That is, I'm telling you, it is so good when you create that emotion of joy just by a thought. All of us have the ability to do that. So there's no reason for any of us to walk around thinking about all kinds of stinking stuff. And I call it stinking stuff because the wrong thoughts are like sewage. And I have stinking thinking. So listeners, you got to maintain the right thoughts, and you can walk in the strength of God, the peace of God, every single day. You don't have to pick and choose the moment when you can and cannot. You can do it every single day according to how you think. And if you focus on what is good and project what you want to happen versus what you do not want to happen, then guess what? You will get rid of all that fear, that anxiety, and those things that are not needful. It's a daily focus to just focus on what is good, to maintain healthy thoughts. Because the peace of God and the strength of God is what we must maintain. But what was you going to say, Angie? We got to wrap it up quick.
I was just going to say, just thinking on what you want and thinking of things positive, it'll come.
It will come. Yes.
I'm a definite believer of that because it has happened for me.
Yes,
so
it will come.
I know for sure. So
yeah, it will come. But the key thing is we have to work. We have to work on our thinking every single day. Every day you wake up, from the time you wake up to the time you go to sleep, you have to work on your thinking. So, Ange and Rebecca, I thank you for participating in this little discussion. We're going to do it again real soon. And so, listeners, I thank you so much for tuning in to listen to SB Favorite Thinking Podcast. Rebecca, is there anything else you want to say real quick?
Just real quick.
Real quick.
The crisis is going to bring you to a crossover, okay? Mm-hmm. And the crossover is that there is a God that will give you peace and strength to help you to think positive, make better choices, okay? And focus on what is good to move forward, because there's a lot of work to do in this world.
That's right.
I love you.
That's right. And we got to stay in the moment, as Angie said, and we have to move forward. Your thoughts have to be progressive, moving forward, not backwards. You cannot rehearse what happened 3 and 4 years ago. It's not healthy. So move forward in your thinking. Be progressive and consistent daily. And so, listeners, thank you so much for tuning in to listen to SB Favorite Thinking Podcast. If you need to reach me, you can reach me at sbfavor@yahoo.com via email. You can also find me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at SBFavor. I have a TikTok channel, or TikTok handle, I should say. And you can find inspirational content on there as well at SBFavor. Yes, TikTok. They got me to join TikTok. Oh, my Lord. I also have a YouTube channel. You can subscribe to the channel, share the content with others, and make sure you click like, leave me some comments, and also click the bell so that you can receive a notification each time there's a new episode of SB Favorite Thinking Podcast. Listeners, I appreciate you so much. Keep on tuning in, and please share the podcast with others. You can do no wrong by doing that. You're only doing good. So thank you so much for listening. And if you would like to donate to the podcast, donate at Cash App at SB Favor. Thank you so much. Have a good day.